Oh
Welcome
yeah.
to Easy Street, coming at you from the heart of Lad City. We have some amazing guests here today. I'm very excited to talk with. Before we jump right into that, I wanted to let everybody that's tuning in on YouTube know that this is also happening live in the Discord channel of Lad City, where we have a lot of fun. You can interact a little more during these shows if you're in the Discord. There's live chat with people interacting and dropping GIFs and emojis. There's airdrops. So I'm dropping whale social currency, lad social currency. And so if you like, the show and you're interested, come join the community. There's a lot of content. We cover NFTs, pretty much all things crypto, gaming, DeFi. There's a lot of great content and people to collaborate with, as well as share information and just kind of have each other's back. So, in Lad City, we have a saying, our vibe, our tribe. And so we really kind of stick together, and it's more fun in this journey together than kind of going it alone. So with that said, I would love to welcome the creators of the documentary in progress, I Want My NFT, Vandal from DAORecords, and his amazing mom, Gemini Rising. Welcome to Lad City, and thanks so much for coming to hang with me today.
Oh yeah. We're back. We're back in the place to
Mhm.
be. What's up, Lad City? Thank you, Easy, so much. We just riding on Easy Street, That's how it
Yeah.
goes.
Yeah. Thanks for having us.
It's a super pleasure. I know today has been a really big day for you guys. We were all actually partying most of the day already. So
Yeah.
you were featured speakers at the WIP, which is a work in progress meetup that happens in Crypto Voxels, which is one of the metaverse lands. And we had some amazing speakers, but it was really great for you guys to kind of kick off the end as well as the after party, where we went to your parcel, which is amazing. It has the theater, and we were able to catch a sneak peek, kind of a little preview of the I Want My NFT. So it's been an exciting day, as well as having the I Want My NFT access pass dropped. So I know that's a lot to talk about, and we can just kind of jump in where you guys want to start with maybe a little bit of background about the project itself.
Sure. Mom, you want to jump in on this first, or shall I
No,
go?
you go first.
Okay, cool. So I guess the documentary kind of came about, because my mom has been making films for quite some time, as long as I can remember, to be honest. So thinking about all of the amazing things that were happening in the NFT space, starting for myself around January of 2020, um, and witnessing the evolution of the various platforms and the types of NFTs that were coming out, and this sort of like digital renaissance of digital art and crypto art, um, really kind of felt like somebody should be documenting this, And I had the conversation with my mom, and we're like, "Hey, when do we do it?" And I was like, "Okay, I'm coming back to Canada, and let's do it." And it just kind of happened like that. We just kind of pieced it together, started talking to various people, and it just came together from there. Really, I mean, that's my little 2 cents on it. Mom, do you want to add to that?
Well, I just want to say that Jason turned me on to the crypto space in 2017, where I bought a whole bunch of crypto stuff and ICO stuff at the all-time high, and have waited until now to get it all back, which I'm glad to say I have. But he, around that same time that he kind of fell into the NFT rabbit hole, he told me about it, and I originally went to art school a long time ago, mostly doing video art. Jason has been featured in a lot of my video art when he was little, and and then I started making documentary films because you can't really make a living making video art at that time, especially because people didn't actually consider it art because you couldn't hang it on the wall or you couldn't make a sculpture or whatever. So I started making documentary films. I started as an editor in a company, and then I was directing as well. And then we started our own company. And now I kind of feel like I've come full circle. When Jason started telling me about it, I got onto Rarible at the beginning and started making art again, and I'm really enjoying myself. And Jason's already talked about how we started making this documentary. It started off as being a feature-length documentary, and we were only going to interview a few people, and now we've already interviewed 45 people, and we've decided to make a 3-part 1-hour series of it because there's just too much stuff. So it's kind of evolved, and I'm really glad we're doing it because we have met so many amazing people.
Oh, I bet. I mean, the community is so full of amazing, thoughtful, welcoming people that are so talented in different areas. And to me, when I remember hearing about the project when you guys were kind of starting it up, and it was just like, oh, yes, this is like exactly what needs to happen to capture some of this, both for the historic reasons where we're in kind of this revolution, and then also just to share with the people here and now, because even the sneak peek we got today, I could tell it's going to be chock full of gems. And it's really interesting and great that you have this film background. I used to work in film too, did some documentaries and music videos and whatnot, so I have like a affinity for documentary film especially. And great news that finally the crypto is recovering. Yeah, and it's great to hear also that you're making art again. A lot of people struggle with being told their art isn't right or good enough in the traditional world. And I think crypto has opened the doors to so many of us, myself included, to be able to share our art and get appreciation for sharing it, and sometimes even sell some, which is really cool. But yeah, this project really, from the beginning kind of made an impact on me even before any of it was out there. But, from the beginning, I was like, wow, this is just a solid project that I'm so glad is happening. And yeah, if you guys want to go into a little bit about, I always think it's interesting, what it takes to make a film, because people don't know, they go and they see the film on the screen, whether it's a documentary or a regular, action feature. So much goes into making a film that the people that maybe haven't, entered the film world wouldn't know about. So maybe if you just want to mention a few things that were either crazy or fun places you got to go, or anything that stands out in your mind from the process.
Lots of arguing and talking and debate, going back to back on ideas and listening and patience and just kind of drafting it all out. I mean, my mom has the experience already for making films, so the general like structure of how to set it up and the budget, the treatment, and that sort of thing she handled. And then because we wanted to do it differently than a traditional film would be made, whereas finding a broadcaster and getting your funding the traditional route, we wanted to really use this film as a use case for NFTs and social money. So I approached it from that angle, like looking at how do we get the white paper written, looking at the tokenomics, getting the social token done. We did our social token with Roll, and just looking at how the different components fit together, how we can use NFTs within the context of the fundraising, which is what the Access Pass is all about, but also transforming the film itself into an NFT, and how we could deliver that. And it's interesting because the space has been evolving so quickly that we're constantly like, oh, hey, okay, we can do this now, and then we can do that, and really it's like it's made the process very exciting because it's not like something that exists in its entirety, and we're just documenting it. This is like a living organism that is evolving. It's like going from its cellular roots and growing and multiplying, and yeah, that's just been the exciting part for me.
Well, also because we decided, like, if we would have gone the traditional route, we probably wouldn't have been making the film for at least another year, because you got to get a broadcaster or a distributor, and then you got to find all the money, and it's just been you know, it's so much easier in a way. Well, also because usually when you make a documentary, you travel and you go and you interview people and you shoot things. And because of COVID, we couldn't really travel because we didn't have a budget. We couldn't really travel. So, you know, all our interviews are kind of like done in the space, which is in a lot of ways really good because it kind of reflects what this space is like. So, you know, our interviews are on Zoom. We film using our smartphones, and you know, when we do stuff together, and like, you know, one of the major threads in the film, which I really like, is the fact that the artists in the film, there's 12 of them, plus me, which is 13, 10 of them have agreed to do this collaboration, and we are working together to make a thing for async art. But I'm filming the process, so that filming of the process and the working out the collaborations and everything is also going to be in the film. So it's been so much more liberating and exciting to be able to do it this way. And I also just wanted to comment before I forget, somebody asked if Jason and I had done anything, worked together on anything else. Excuse me. Not really a big thing. I mean, you know, when Jason was younger, we traveled a lot, and we drove from Toronto, where we lived at the time, all the way down to Guatemala, through Mexico and the US, obviously. And Jason had to do a project for school, and he did a thing about the sea, and we worked on that sort of together. Well, it was me bugging him to get it done for his project, but it turned out really well. So we did that together. And the only thing we've done on the crypto space, together, is Jason had, oh no, actually we did two things. Jason had the one of his songs, and I did the artwork for it. And then we did a collaboration that was on ephemera that got sold, which is called Flow. And I did the visuals and he did the music. And we just did another sort of semi-collaboration, which is going to be featured on with a new group called Mothers of Ethereum. And that show is going to be on the 15th of May in Crypto Voxels, where our new piece, that is also my Genesis piece for Known Origin, will be shown there. So yeah, and he's the son of Ethereum. That's correct.
Yeah, I saw that in the chat. So so natural to migrate to the blockchain when you're a son of Ethereum. That there's a lot of things that like spark, you know, thoughts in my head. And I remember that Flow collab you guys did. It was really cool. Very, very interesting to use the technology and the NFTs to make this film about it. To fund it, very different. And I'm, you know, positive this is the first of its kind, a film, a documentary about NFTs, with the fundraising coming from, you know, sales of NFTs, and it's just kind of so meta, and it's going to feel so real, like what we experience in the metaverse, and how we all, you know, do these video chats and whatnot by using, you know, Zoom and the digital media. It's really going to feel, I think, like a true reflection of the metaverse that we kind of, you know, live and breathe lately. So it's very interesting that it could also be done faster, even this way, versus the traditional fundraising. And then with all the fast pace changes in the technology that we have over the last year, being able to, you know, like you guys mentioned, like, oh, there's this now that's new that we can use. And it just is really fascinating and a super exciting time on so many levels. And I would love to see some of the Vandal childhood videos.
I could show them to you. It's funny that you say that it's faster. In some ways, I feel like it's taking such a long time, mainly because things happen so quickly in this space. That's, even like Magmaster was actually the first person we interviewed, and that was at the end of December. And since then, so many things have changed already just from the first interview. So in some ways I'm thinking, well, it isn't faster because this space is so fast, but also because it's just me and Jason right now working on it. We have hired, we got some funding through the Gitcoin grant, and we hired somebody to help with the editing. But you know, the main reason we're doing this access pass is so that we can pay people to help us get this thing done, because the two of us doing it is just gonna take a long time.
Yeah, that's a huge amount of work.
That's why we have a budget, right? We create the budget so that we know what we need to raise, so we can, you know, get everything done and do it as we plan to do it. And you know, thanks to my mom's experience working in documentaries and knowing how to put all those things together, we've got it all mapped out. We're including, you know, also how we're going to integrate the DAO and our social token and build out a community around that as well, to bring in and onboard new creatives, specifically, you know, filmmakers or video artists, or music video creators, and just kind of, you know, doing something for that element of the creative arts that I think not's been neglected, but you know, the focus hasn't been around that since it's first been like crypto art was the first main focus. Then you had like music come in, and now we're having you know, a few more elements that are doing the rounds and coming into the space, including, you know, film and video, and I think that's exciting.
It is really exciting. I've been waiting, I think, about 1.5 years since, you know, kind of the earlier days when the file sizes were real small, you know, I don't know, 20 megabytes or something like that. And, you know, I did a lot of, like I mentioned, I used to work in film, and I have a lot of time lapse videography that I used to do just out of a hobby, for a passion. I'd set up these different time lapses, and I've just been waiting and waiting until we could actually upload something like a gigabyte, you know, to have a decent quality time lapse, whether it's, you know, a sunset or insects hatching or whatever they are. So it's really exciting to me that you guys are working on this DAO to be able to bring in and help more, you know, video artists or people that want to make music videos on an NFT. I think it's really important. And do you want to touch a little bit on the DAO and how that's being kind of set up and the grand vision there?
Sure. Okay, so we haven't officially set up the DAO yet. You know, the Access Pass release, we've been just kind of taking things one step at a time. So again, like that, we have so many more options now than we did before in terms of, you know, where we would set up the DAO. And you know, I think how the DAO would look would be similar to, you know, Lads or Token Smart or Whale community, in terms of having it set up through the Discord and having various members with various roles in the community. Like, we kind of make it like a whole production. So we got the whole set, you know, the team, you got the crew, you got the grips, you know, you have the producers, you have various elements of the roles and everything. And that would kind of tie into the DAO and the governance. And, you know, we set aside, I can't remember what percentage it is now, but quite a large percentage of the token supply we've set aside for the community. And that would be, you know, held by the DAO, and eventually that would go out in grants to people who participate. And still the structure is coming together. So this is a sort of the post Access Pass release part of the work that we're doing. So we're aiming to have sometime in June the DAO set up, so we can just kind of lay the foundations first before the film comes out.
Nice. And I know from, you know, personally from working with enough projects that it takes time to set up a DAO. With the goal of being decentralized, you can't just start something fully decentralized, because the idea has a core group of people, you know, so it does take time, but that sounds like a really cool way to set it up. I love like working in, you know, the film terms. You got your, you know, grips and your, you know, producers. You could probably start out as a Oh man, brain fart. As a well, I never actually
PA,
a PA.
a
Yes,
PA.
I never started as a PA. I was so lucky that I had a friend that was a director of photography. He brought me onto film starting as, second camera system, which is pretty far
Wow.
up the line. So I snuck in.
Yeah.
But I love that idea too. And it's crazy because like you guys were mentioning, things change so fast now. You would have to work at like light speed if you didn't want to, like, okay, well, we got to go record the Magmaster interview again because everything's different now. It's like, it's kind of so crazy in this space how fast things change. It's hard to even keep track day to day these days.
Yeah, what's interesting is that I think that you, what we the main intention, or one of the main intentions, was to capture a moment of time in this space. And the the period of time between December and now, even though it's like 5 months, which is hardly that long at all, so much has changed that we've been able to capture like probably like a quarter of that change, but then we can express that change through the various things that we integrate, through how the DAO will be, structuring the way that the tokens will flow, and the community, and just using the various tools at our disposal. Like, I haven't been on this before, this Discord. It's like Clubhouse on Discord kind of thing, right?
Right.
This
Yeah.
is the stage thing, right? This is new. These are new tools that we can use for the community, and yeah, it's that idea of capturing a moment in time and having that there without feeling the need to go back and say, yeah, we could re-record some of the interviews because maybe there's a few questions that are outdated or whatever, but I still think that it captures that period of time, which I think was the important thing for us.
Yeah, to capture some of those early days is actually super important. And I think it'll make the film even more interesting to watch the progression from, some of the earliest interviews to the latest ones, because it was a different feel. 5 or 6 months ago, it was a whole different feeling in the community and kind of outlook. And a little bit after like the New Year's or so, it feels like when we got this, kind of tidal wave and all this excitement came and all these new people. And it's a very different vibe right now than it was when you guys started filming. So it's going to be very interesting from that perspective to watch kind of and to have that progression, on film for history, because we have it in our, memories and in the sent posts and the chats, you can see different things, but really to get the visual, audio, the full package, so to speak, is going to be really great, especially for newer people that didn't get to experience that firsthand.
Yeah, I also think that half of the people that we interviewed, I don't even think we would have been able to interview them now because they're just so busy and inundated with things that they wouldn't have had the time. So we're really, especially like the platforms, the people we interviewed from the different platforms, like Rarible and Super Rare and Known Origin, and like all of those platforms are, like when I message them now, half the time it takes forever to hear back from them just because they're just extremely busy with all of these new people and influencers and all of that coming into the space. I just read the Wall Street Journal article with or interview with Paris Hilton, who apparently has been in the NFT space forever, according to her. So sorry.
Right.
I'm being a bit snide. I'm sorry about that.
No, it's very interesting to go to a place like Clubhouse, and there's some great rooms in Clubhouse. I spent time there. I've made great relationships there. I've seen like collaborations come together. But there's this other side of it that's like people that have been in the NFT space for about a month, and they're, basically claiming they're experts because they read a few tweets from, Gary Vee and from Elon Musk, and they're giving advice, and it's just like hand to the forehead, like, please don't say that. So
It
there's
reminds me
definite
of
go
Yeah,
ahead,
it
go ahead.
reminds me of the ICO craze, like in late 2017 going into 2018. And all of a sudden there were all these people in who were like the experts and who were telling you which ICO to invest in and which project, and giving you the lowdown, and you know, all these YouTubers who were like, I saw it come and I saw it go, you know?
I followed those experts in 2017.
No.
And you're
And look
just
what happened to
recovered.
me.
Yeah,
Yep, I
just
just
recovered
recovered.
now. So let that be a lesson to do your own research. We always say that. And it, you know, it's great getting a recommendation from someone and, you know, if they seem knowledgeable, great, but don't just take it for gospel, because so often, and we have seen these, you know, just like the 2017 and the ICOs, it was a perfect, it's a, you know, everybody had just a little write-up on what they're gonna do. And it's like, oh, let's raise like $30 million on this idea. And, you know, none of those ideas pretty much came to fruition, unfortunately. But back to the point about, you know, how busy everything is now, I could totally understand that if you were trying to make this film right now, it would probably be nearly impossible to schedule, you know, the people from Super Rare and Known Origin and whatnot, because they're still the same small teams. I mean, they're all frantically looking to hire more good people, and because there's such a big influx that most of these platforms, you know, whether it's from OpenSea to, you know, Super Rare to Rareable and, you know, all in between, are just slammed. So it is, you know, advantageous that you guys started when you did, so that we can all have this lovely film. And I also wanted to bring something up, because I had, you know, I had heard about the film in the early days, but I hadn't really known exactly, you know, I knew it was about crypto and crypto art and whatnot. And just because of Vandal's association with the DAORecords, I just kind of assumed it was going to be largely about the music. And also, I'll tell you what, the MTV I Want My NFT logo, I think like subconsciously just like got into my brain that it was about like the music, more of the music NFT scene. So to set the record straight, that was my kind of interpretation from like visuals and my own thing. But Vandal, do you want to talk a little bit about DAORecords? Because, you know, you have experience. That's one of the things I was going to bring up earlier, where you're making this DAO because you have experience building a DAO with the DAORecords project.
Yeah, for sure. I guess I'll just tell you how I discovered DAOs and how I felt you know, attached in a way to the idea and the concept of a DAO. Was back in November 2019. A friend of mine, Jason Chu from Bitcoin Malaysia, he was in DevCon in Osaka, and he came back, and I had been an active member of the Kuala Lumpur crypto community, and you know, Jason was part of that community, and he had come back and wanted to do a workshop on DAOs using the DAO canvas, which is DAO Fest, which was under DAO Stack, uh, and it's no longer active at the moment. But you know, that was the first DAO that I had interacted with, first going through this DAO canvas, which was actually like 7 sheets of paper, just guiding you through the process of what you need to think of and ideate in terms of when you put a DAO together and create a DAO. And I was so inspired by it that it's, you know, like with having worked in the community for quite some time, looking at how to govern communities and then the crypto aspect and the you know, seeing the elements of ICOs, and this was before I had really considered or rediscovered NFTs, to bring NFTs into the equation. And I was thinking about how creative communities could benefit from DAOs. So I put together, you know, a workshop that I did in Kuala Lumpur, and then we did one in Bangkok as well, and it was called the DAO of Wu. And the Tao of Wu was sort of combining this idea of collective governance with the Wu Tang model of coming together all as one to, you know, put your efforts and energy behind the collective as opposed to individually, and how that can benefit people going out individually on their own afterwards, as you could see with the Wu Tang Clan and the success they had coming together first and then going out and on their solo careers. So that was sort of my entry point into DAOs, and I got involved with DAO Fest, and then, you know, looking at DAORecords coming into the NFTs. I was still looking at the technology in terms of being able to interact with it and how that would look for creatives, because during my experience with doing the workshops, there was a lot of blank faces out there, a lot of people who were like, huh, I don't quite get it. How do I do anything? Like it was really, it was like, okay. Then I was started to think to myself that maybe we're not quite there in terms of, how difficult it was to interact with DAOs at the time, unless you have technical, knowledge or understand, the concepts a bit better. So we actually, for DAO Records, back in, I think it was somewhere around June of 2020, we decided to form the DAO, and it was a group of us, 6 of us, and we were with DAO Stack, and at the time, gas prices had just started to creep upward, and we're looking at deploying the DAO on Ethereum, and it was going to be like almost $200 or something. I think like $160. And at that time, that's significantly higher than it was costing traditionally to deploy the DAOs. And then, of course, when you have a DAO on chain, you have the interaction with the DAO, which are like transactions. So anybody interacting with the DAO is going to, have to incur transactions and the fees involved. So we decided to move it to XDAI on the POA network. So that requires more technical abilities of like going into your MetaMask, creating a new network, putting in the thing for the POA network, setting that up, getting your XDAI, and then using your XDAI to then participate in the backend DAO, I guess work area or admin panel of the DAO,
Right.
and it was like super challenging. I think out of the 6 of us, there was only 2 of us who interacted with the DAO, and that was myself and Eric from DAO Stack, who helped me set up the DAO. So we realized that it was like way too soon still to effectively have a DAO for creative communities because of the challenges with interacting with the technology. And I think now is a lot easier. So we've been still looking at specifically for DAO Records as at exactly where and how we're going to set up the DAO officially, because just to let you know, we are working on an MVP at the moment for our DAO Records. I don't want to call it platform, but something, a DAO Records thing, and that's going to come with a DAO. So it's really planning all of those things out and not really rushing, and knowing that DAOs are like something that they're like organic. You can't really like define them. They're like water. They flow, they move here, they move there. They're constantly changing and evolving. And like, that's the kind of idea I find that's really interesting with DAOs, is that they're like that. But I'm looking forward to integrating the new DAO for DAO Records, and potentially a token as well to go along with that. I've been kind of resisting the whole token thing for a long time, but we'll see how it goes. Maybe we'll just leave it to the community to decide. But yeah, so there's the long and the short of it.
That could work too, since it's a DAO, and DAOs are, they're like these organic beings almost. Once they get really some steam going, like, and it's a lot of tech, like, to be able to do that, and then switching to XDAI from ETH because of the gas issues, and that, like, it's no simple feat to do the execution, and it's also no simple feat to think up the groundwork and how the DAO is going to work and how it's going to kind of meet the goals of the people in it, because those goals will be varied. So it's very interesting, and it's really great that we are making kind of some leaps and bounds with the technology, so that people can spin up a DAO. There was the pizza DAO spun up, and they spun that baby up in like a month, which was really impressive. I mean, a lot of talented people, for technical and artistic and all that over there. So it's exciting to know that having that under your belt, I think, will really help with this I want my NFT DAO, and being able to bring in more mixed medium and video artists and things like that. So really cool, and just got to shout you guys out for doing that, because it's a lot to take on, making a film, and then also kind of in the background organizing this to be launched as a DAO. Plus you've got the token. Do you want to give us a little bit of info on the token?
Sure. And just to kind of go along with the DAO thing, we're also we've got a music community with Near, and it's called NXM, Near Music Guild, and we've spun up a DAO, and we're actually doing a hackathon this weekend on starting on Saturday through the open web community to spin up more DAOs for the community to cover different areas, like for example, like a event DAO, a marketing DAO, um, onboarding DAO, like shout out to Trash Lights who's in the house here. I see him typing. Yeah, so I think now is DAO season. Like I think it's great timing, and a lot of people are kind of getting more sort of understanding towards the concepts and being able to play a part in them in a way that makes more sense as the community is growing. But over to the token, the Flix token, we had actually, I don't know, how long ago was it, Mom? It was probably, geez, February? It might have been February. We spoke with Roll about launching the token
I think it was
with them.
actually more like January or even December, but yeah.
Okay, yeah, we
It's
had
been a while.
begun the
We have a lot of
conversation.
tokens, but we haven't done it yet.
Well, if you know Roll, right, it's the token supply is 10 million, and then Roll takes their percentage, and then the remainder is kind of vested over the course of 3 years, and then you get like 1 million of the tokens when you first deploy your token, and then every month you get sort of the rest of it, and we thought, like, when we started making the film, we thought, okay, this is gonna we're gonna like start right away, and everything was gonna launch, and we were gonna do the fundraising, and the token was gonna come out then, and this was like 3-4 months ago. And we're still here, and that, the one thing I learned about being in this space for, like, just in general, the crypto space, for 4 years now, is patience, and not to rush things.
And no FOMO.
Yeah, exactly. So it's about, I feel it's better to be patient than to rush. So that's why things have kind of like been this process of figuring it out and seeing what's the best thing to do. And now we've got the farming thing coming into play, and then this is a way for us to allocate the tokens to our supporters who pick up the access pass, because then they'll be able to farm the NFTs and earn, and then figure that in with the liquidity pool on Uniswap with the token, so we can set like a base price for the token based on the amount of money that we want to fundraise for the film, so as like to have that kind of as the backing asset, so to say, or the collateral to determine the value of the token. And I'm not a mathematician, I'm not an economist. I've read a lot of white papers since 2017, but writing one, putting one together, just sort of using all my experience, bouncing that off of people I know in the space, and just kind of taking our time with it has been really important around the token, and looking at how not to create sort of this intense inflation around the price, but have a long-term vision for it, which fits in perfectly with our long-term vision for the DAO, and the fact that this film is a use case scenario for what can be done with the token and the DAO and NFTs down the road. So yeah,
Loving it.
if you were at the event earlier, you would have, and you signed a guest book, you would have seen the claim for tokens, for the Flix tokens on
I
Roll.
got mine.
You got yours,
I think,
Easy?
yeah, thank you. I
Nice.
think it was like 100 Flix.
Yeah.
That was really cool. And it's really important for the people listening. If you're newer to the space, the taking your time, the slow roll approach is such a good piece of advice, because I have witnessed people that come into the space, get excited, they're new, they launch some kind of NFT, they drop a token, and it's not really well thought out. Maybe there's not much utility or extra value. It's just an image, and maybe there's kind of an A-list celebrity name attached, and it's pretty much a recipe for just a little flare out. So taking your time and learning about what's possible with the technology you're working with, getting a vibe for the community and seeing, kind of what people are doing, and maybe, doing something a little different, or finding your niche that, with a couple other people that are doing something that you think is really cool and you want to do too. I really think that is the correct way to enter the space. And even if you've been in the space for a while and you're thinking something up, don't just rush it too much, because in the end, that's going to probably bite you in the butt. Instead, share your idea with some close friends that are in the space, bounce it back off each other. It's always really good to get a sounding board, and people in these communities are very open to just tell you the honest opinion when you come to them with an idea. And I actually get people fairly frequently, telling me their ideas, and sometimes I'm encouraging them, and every once in a while it's like, okay, bro, like, I've seen this happen a few times before, like, think about these couple things, and then maybe a little bit of back to the drawing board. So there's plenty of people in the space that are willing to hear your project pitch and kind of give you some feedback. And so it's just what Vandal was saying about really taking the time is really important. And I absolutely love that you guys are kind of working in the DeFi angle with the farming. When I was going to be getting one of these, I want my NFT access passes no matter what. But that, when I read in the little letter, I think it was, got me super excited. I was like, ooh, farming, I'm in. So it's just another
Yeah.
cool way of interaction and adding more value long term. And
Yeah, that, like, and the whole farming thing, I had, okay, I'm going to go off on a little tangent here, but, I've had this fascination with vaults. And,
Oh no.
I was like, my mom knows, because I go off on all kinds of ideas of like what we can do with vaults and various things. And I find it, especially intriguing in terms of, vaults within vaults and various things they can do. Anyway, so I thought initially we were like, okay, we're going to create a vault, and then, people who get their access pass will deposit the access pass into the vault, and they will receive a parity token, which would be a wrapped, a wrapped I want my NFT token, in which then they can use in the liquidity pool and Uniswap, and then have all these things around various vaults and depositing and withdrawing, and it was too complicated, right? But the idea was there. And then when one of the artists who released on DAORecords like a couple of weeks ago, MATLAB, Mateo, he did his NFT, his audio NFT via Item, and then had it farmable, set up a farming contract through Covenants, and then sold them on OpenSea, and then had people come in and farm them. And we helped to facilitate the OpenSea sale. And I was like, oh wow, this is cool. And I think he actually did the first audio farmable audio NFT, which I think is also really cool. So integrating the farming, I had a few long conversations with Ale, and just like guiding me through, so I had all the concepts down, because I'm not a DeFi person. I understand the basics, but I know how complex it can get. And he really just made it easy for me to understand, and to get things set up. And then boom, what happens? We get 400, 500 gas. And I'm like, oh, okay. And this was last minute. We probably would have had the actual like farmable NFTs ready in time for the launch party. But we decided to do sort of temporary. Well, the passes, they're not temporary. Obviously, they exist forever on the blockchain. But the people who are holding the access pass will be airdropped the farmable NFT. So that way they can
cool.
participate in earning the part of the 1.8 million tokens that are allocated for our supporters. And that goes across the 3 parts of the film. So in total, there will be 300 access passes altogether over the 3 parts of the film. So yeah, I'm
Very
excited to
cool.
see how that's going to all unfold.
Yeah, I
I
mean,
don't, sorry.
oh, go ahead, Gemini.
I was just going to say, I don't know if Vandal mentioned the other sort of perks about getting the access pass, which are you get to own a piece of the film. So there are only going to be 100 access passes, and everyone who gets one will just get either, as well as an associate producer credit, will get one part of the film, 1/100th of however long the film is. If the film is 100 minutes, they'll get a minute. If the film is 50 minutes, they'll get half a minute. But everyone who gets an access pass will be getting part of the film as well.
Wow, you heard it here, folks. I didn't even know that. Like, there's so many cool benefits that keep just coming. I was really stoked when you guys mentioned that, you know, anybody who gets the access pass gets that little associate producer credit, which is really, really cool. Like, for me to know that I'm gonna be in the credits of this, and that I was also, you know, it's important to me that I'm able to help support it a little bit financially. You know, it's not a lot, but it's you know, everybody pitching a little, right? And then being like in the credits, how cool is that? And then actually getting, like, let's say it's 100 minutes long, a minute of that film, like, this is just really, really cool extra value and incentives that you guys have worked into this, and I think you're doing a really great job with it.
Hey,
And
thanks,
Thank
man.
you. Thank you.
yeah, it's like in DeFi, it just takes a long time to like get your head around. Like, I mean, I've been reading up on different DeFi things and games and whatnot for, oh, I don't even know, many, many, many months. And it wasn't until just kind of maybe the last couple months that I started getting a more, what I feel is a more full grasp on it, because there are so many little things, you know, you're adding your liquidity here, and then you're taking those liquidity tokens to this other place and you're putting them there, and then you get some raffle tickets from that you got to claim on a certain day to drop over here, and it is wild and deep. So, you know, it takes some time just to get the hang of it, and it's great that, you know, to be able to have people in the space to help kind of clarify that. And there's some good DeFi info over here, dropping from some of the lads that are very knowledgeable on it. And, you know, actually over here in Lad City, part of what backs the Lad social token is, you know, where there's a vault. And then what's a little bit different from some of the other projects, like, you know, Whale was, you know, maybe the first, I guess, to have a vault backing those assets backing the social token, which is very interesting. I mean, there's a lot more value there from the community and the artists involved and whatnot, but having that stable backing of a vault it was a really interesting way to do it. And here in Lad City, we like that idea. We have a vault where stuff is, you know, stays in, and then we have a treasury vault where maybe things come in, and let's say somebody that's developing a game comes onto one of the shows and they bring some NFTs for the crowd. Well, maybe some of those get dropped during the show, some go into the treasury vault and can be recirculated as rewards in a raffle, or, you know, like if you're a liquidity provider with the Lads coin, then maybe you get, you know, some of those things go to a raffle just for the miners, you know, who have that higher role. So it's really fun and interesting ways to add value by using things like vaults and having, you know, the farming and the liquidity rewards and stuff. So it's you know, everything is sounding so great to me about this project that I'm just like, you know, 100% on board, grinning ear to ear basically this whole time, and super excited to see, you know, more and more of this as you guys get more of it cut. And then, you know, I know that, you know, do you guys have already 2 little promos? I saw the first one today during the WIP event.
We had one before, which we did a long time ago, which just kind of introduces ourselves, and it's kind of funny. If you see that one, you'll know why the ending of the art is promo is funny, because I'm not a camera person, and I kind of messed up with the camera work on the first one, and it's this running joke because I left it running while we were talking. It was in my pocket, and so
Yeah.
I really enjoyed that little snippet that was at the end of the promo today. Yeah, it's like a black screen and you hear you guys talking
Yeah.
about, you know, what you're gonna do, and then Gemini's like, oh, I left it recording again. It was definitely a very comical moment.
Yeah, and that's part of, like, I think just in general our banter if we're not like at each other's throats arguing over, which voxel box should go where in crypto voxels, or which question we should ask somebody in an interview. Normally we're just joking around and having fun. But going back to one of the other perks that we've been wanting to kind of see how it would look. What does everybody think? I figure since we're here, I could ask what everybody thinks. What does everybody think about being able to, say, purchase a reward in a Flix token to have their name in the credits of the film? Is that something that people would be interested in?
I'm watching the chat right away. Yes. So
Yeah.
Tigbo, big yes. Hash rhymes, heart, yes. Trash lights, I like it. Petra, yes. Crypto stamina, why not? Llama, yes. It seems like it's unanimous. I think it's a really cool
Okay.
idea.
Nice, nice. So while everybody's in here, maybe you should sneak over to our Crypto Voxels parcel and see if there's anything left on the guest book. Because last I checked, I had a drop for 50 people and 43 people had signed the guest book. So there could very well be some more goodies, some more Flix tokens for people if they just want to jump back in. I don't know if anyone's going to put a link in the chat, but yeah, I figure, we might as well put the tokens to use because we have an allocation for the community and for airdrops and also for participation through the DAO. And eventually, once we have our Discord fully set up and running, obviously the Discord as well. So it would be really cool to see what other cool rewards or things that we could offer people in terms of how the community might look, or things that they can contribute. And I like that idea of like closing credits, having people using Flix tokens to purchase a credit placement there.
I think it's
Also, sorry.
no, go ahead, Gemini.
Also, I just wanted to say one of the perks of, I mean, this has already happened, but I kind of wanted to announce it. We had a lucky draw at the event for the people that bought the pre-sale tokens, which were a little bit cheaper than they are at the theater. And after the theater ones run out, we've got 50 more. We're only having 100 tokens, but the winner was chosen at the pre-sale token. Jason has their name now, but they won an executive producer credit and a physical item, a framed access pass, physically framed access pass. Do you have the name handy? Maybe they're in this Discord group right now.
That was so cool. I was like, literally, I had my fingers and toes crossed. I'm all, come on, Oxfab, come on. Because I know it was by the, just by the addresses. It wasn't names. Okay,
Yeah,
there
yeah.
you are, Vandal. You're back.
It was someone who goes by the alias of Tifa, Tifa. I'm not sure who it is, but the email does kind of allude to them potentially being from the Netherlands. So that's all I know. Most people in this space tend to be pseudo-anonymous. So we'll reach out to the winner, Tifa, and see if the person wants us to send them something or not. Some people, they don't want the the physical things sometimes to reveal their addresses, and I
Right.
totally understand in this space. But if Tifa doesn't claim it, we'll do another lucky draw with the names as well. And I know you're on that list, Easy, because
Oh yeah.
you came in and you supported during the pre-sale, and we really appreciate that. And so that's how it happened. And the funny thing is, I was trying to figure out how we're gonna like show everybody the lucky draw. And I didn't really have a way to share my screen, and it was just getting too complicated. So I just went onto Twitch and filmed my laptop screen while we did the lucky draw there live in the on the Twitch inside the parcel. So that was kind of fun.
I
to do
thought that was
there.
super exciting to have that executive producer credit going to one of the earlier supporters, and just have it be kind of that, we all know the wheel, that wheel of luck or wheel of doom, depending on your outlook, I guess. But we have so much fun over in Token Smart on Tuesdays. There's an Avastar giveaway thing, and you write a little story about the Avastar, and they'll spin the wheel like 20 times. So like, you're bound to win if you come like for a few weeks in a row and participate. And it's just so fun. Everybody gets so hyped and excited. And it is a really fun activity, even when you don't win, to just see like, okay, there's the names, it's spinning, it's slowing down. You're like, oh, it just passed me, no. And then somebody wins, you're like, woohoo, congrats. And so it's a fun way to spice things up, and it's a really cool way to reward the community that are participating. And honestly, it's 100% my pleasure from the heart to be able to help support and to be able to get one of those access passes. And so I know that they started at 0.15 for people that were signed up to the newsletter already and registered to be part of that. And I believe they're 0.2 right now.
Yep.
That's correct?
Yeah.
And how many are available at the 0.2?
25. So
Okay.
that's on our I Want My NFT OpenSea store. So you can just hop on OpenSea and just type in I Want My NFT, and it should take you directly to the collection. And yeah, so that's sort of like we've sort of labeled them with a gold, silver, bronze demarcation, so that we know who has which tier. Because when it comes to the farming, if you're on the early tier, you actually get a higher percentage of the tokens for the farming. So we've got 3 setups coming for the farming. So the various tiers will get you various token in return. So this is I guess the middle tier, which is silver, and that's 0.2 ETH, and there are 25 available, and then we'll have the remaining 50 come up after that. I think we're going to do that either Friday or Monday. We'll see. We'll see how it goes with what's left currently. I haven't had a chance to check, but yeah.
And those, so if you're listening, folks, pay attention. You can get higher farming yields purchasing NFT. If those out, then you're going to have to wait for the final 50, which will be available at, was that
0.25?
Was 0.25, right?
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it makes sense to go grab one now. And then you get the cool associate producer credit, you get the good farming rate, you're supporting a phenomenal project that is really just like about, spreading the word and supporting the whole community of artists that have come to the blockchain. And really, this is the beginning. I mean, I could imagine, definitely take a break so you guys don't, get at each other's throats too much, but maybe a while down the line, you do another kind of mini series type release where you could do, after, maybe it's like in 2022 or something, and there's the I Want My NFT too, or maybe I Want My Music NFT or something. I mean, it could lead to something more possibly, or.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just to correct something that you had said earlier about this tier of access pass, the associate producer credit was only for people on the pre-sale.
Oh,
So those coming in
lucky
missed
me.
out. And yeah, sorry. Yeah, I was just gonna say in terms of like ideas of things that we wanted to do, and again, there's only 2 of us, right? And in order for this thing to grow and really take off, a community needs to come and form around it. And our idea was to do what was it, like a film festival, like I Want My NFT film festival that would happen every year, and then we have a token allocation already set aside for the festival, and we could commission works and do sort of an awards as well, like the best music video NFT, the best animated, and it like just kind of everything that kind of fits into the idea of video and film as it relates to NFTs. So exciting stuff. Hopefully that these things can happen down the road with the support and help from the community, and of course our Flix token to power it, and that's hopefully what we'll be able to use and make it happen that way.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
totally forgot about the film festival through all of this. It's like that was something we talked about at the beginning, and I just totally forgot all about the film festival. But yeah, a film festival, we have our metaverse Oscars basically.
Yes, I love it. Oh my, I'm on board 100%. When you guys are getting closer to that kind of thing, reach out for whatever it is that I could help with. And I'm sure that, by then, once the DAO is kind of more established, then you'll have the community and support and more people with their passions and, technical knowledge or filming knowledge and sound and all these things to be able to help, build a larger team. So it's not just basically, you guys trying to carry the whole thing on your shoulders.
Yeah, that'll be impossible. The project will fail if that's the case. You know?
Good thing you're firing up this DAO. No,
Yeah, yeah,
uh,
definitely.
it's
Yeah.
such a great idea. I mean, I can kind of like see some of it in my head with like, the red carpet. This is obviously all in the metaverse, like crypto voxels or wherever, but you got the red carpet and the people are wearing their fanciest wearables coming out, to the big award ceremony. Have some great little short films, some music video. Oh God, could just be so amazing. So yeah, very excited. I mean, this is such exciting stuff, and it's it's really groundbreaking, and at the same time, like using a medium that we all know, film, but really sort of rebirthing it in this whole other way, which hopefully will catch on, and more people will do films where they can, and maybe it's not going to be the big Hollywood blockbusters, but this is something I see where more of your let's say everyday or average filmmaker that went to film school, but not everybody makes it into the big leagues, if you will. So that for more average filmmakers that don't have giant budgets, to be able to raise some funds on the merits of their idea and of their artistic style and of their passion through some fundraising of NFTs, being able to maybe get together a promo trailer, and maybe that's an NFT that you sell to try and fund your little film project. So it's very, very cool, really trailblazing what you guys are doing.
Speaking
Actually,
of
our
that,
promo, were you
go
going
ahead,
to?
Mom. Tell
Oh,
them.
our promo, we are gifting to everybody who is in the film. So stay tuned, Mag NFT. You will be getting a present. We're just waiting to talk to Alex from OpenSea because we need to. We've decided we're going to have the what do you call it, royalties set at 100%, just to, because there were a couple of people who had some concerns about it, just so that we people aren't going to sell it, even though I don't think anybody would want to sell it, but just to sort of discourage them, we're setting the royalties at 100% because we just want to gift them to the people that gift this promo to the people that are in the film. And also something that I don't think we've mentioned at all is that each person that we've interviewed, we're also doing a little promo for each person, and each person that we do the promo of, we're keeping one copy, and the person that the specific person is also going to get another minted piece of them, a feature of them themselves that is apart from the film. So
That is
have a lot of
really
presents.
cool. Yeah, no, that's just honestly, that's sweet. That is really sweet that you guys are thinking, that much for everybody. And I know there's a lot of people, that everybody that's being in the film, so that they have like their little, I mean, obviously you're not going to forget you were in the film, but to have something that's a reminder that's special, that's yours, is, just really a cool, very nice thing to do. I love it.
We'll probably think of more things. Oh, wait, no, there is something else. And I think that maybe you saw it if you signed a guest book, and those people, I think there were a couple of people in the chat I saw who got in on the little Flix rewards there from the guest book. But our poster, which my mom did, the animated version of the poster, we're also going to be minting that on Mintbase when they launch on Near. So for those people who, came and signed the guest book, You know, all you need to do is either get a near address, or you know, if you have one already, you're going to receive an NFT of the Access Pass launch party poster as a keepsake.
So
Yeah, and we're
cool.
helping people helping onboard people by providing helping them get their near name and providing them maybe a little bit of near to you know, sort of help Mintbase as well to onboard, or near to help people onboard um, uh, into the near echo space kind of thing.
Yeah,
That's a
yeah,
Oh, I was
just
just gonna say that, yeah,
mhm.
that's a great way to help get more people both aware of the near, but you know, you hear about a chain or a project and you're like, oh, that's great, this is really cool. But it's like these barriers, there's still these barriers where you have to maybe add a new blockchain into your MetaMask, or you know, these few steps you have to go register or purchase a name. So you need a little bit, but you don't have your wallet yet because you haven't got your name. So it's all these little roundabouts that we kind of get stuck in. So that's really you know, advantageous for the whole, you know, near ecosystem. And I know Mintbase is a part of that, for you guys to help kind of handhold people by giving a gift, but also walking them through a little of the process. I know I won at the Mintbase Christmas calendar, the advent calendar. I think I'd clicked on something and there was like a couple near in there. And so I'm pretty sure, now this was December. So, and I thought I went and got easyandycrypto.near, but somehow it must be on, you know, on some paper somewhere, because it wasn't in my book. And usually I'm really good at getting everything into my book. And so I'm looking for my easyandycrypto.near sign in. But I did win like another near name recently. There was some kind of giveaway for names, and I got NFTs, but NFTIEZ.near. So I have a backup, and
Nice.
I mentioned that in the forum for you guys, but I'll be looking for the Easy and Crypto one. I'm pretty sure I got that one too.
Awesome. Yeah, this is like, you know, something that I've been doing for the NXM Music Guild community for a while now. You know, the people who are coming in to the guild, musicians, if you're listening, if you're in the space, Trash Lights, hit up Trash Lights. He's in the chat, and he can kind of guide you over to the NXM Music Guild if you want to check it out. But yeah, just like onboarding people, onboarding musicians, and gifting near names, and it's pretty easy to use near, and I think that, you know, once the Rainbow Bridge gets, you know, evolves a bit further, there's already version 1 which connects to Ethereum, and then there's DeFi on near. I just minted a rare Vandal token, because my rare Vandal project I'm going to do through Mintbase, and I created a DAO already for TYGS, which is another project we're doing, a 6-element hip hop battle series. And so there's a lot of cool things that are happening, I think, on Near, which for me is pretty exciting to play around with. I love experimenting with stuff, and that's one of my fascinations with this space, is that there's so many things to experiment with, you know, and you can just go crazy. And
Totally.
It's
yeah,
pretty
it's awesome.
overwhelming. It's pretty overwhelming.
It definitely can feel like super over. Some days I'm like, I don't know what to do. There's too many like things that I want to go see or events to participate in, and every once in a while I'll get like one of those burnout days where I'm like, okay, not going to do anything online today. I'm going to the beach. And like, people are like, where's Easy? And I like get back the next day. I'm like, okay, I'm back. I had to take a day and just go into nature, because it's a lot to keep track of, and a lot to learn and absorb and then experiment and play. And it's phenomenal. I mean, don't get me wrong. There's nothing I'd rather be doing than all this amazing art and music on the blockchain, but it is important to try and find a little bit of balance, which I always, you know, try and recommend to people, to have a little bit of offline time, get some sun, take a
Hmm.
walk, you know, little
Yeah,
things like that.
we do that every day, actually. I have 2 dogs, and we live right near a provincial park. And like all of this sort of, if you see the first video we did, that's just around the corner from our house. The first promo and the second promo, there's a little bit in it, but you can't really see the lake and everything. It's pretty beautiful around here, and we don't even have to wear a mask because there's no people around.
Yeah, that definitely is nice to breathe the fresh air and be out of the city. But like I think that having the opportunity through this pandemic, and also me being here in Canada and spending a lot more time with my mom, and being able to kind of be together to do this project together, I think is like family bonding time, and it's been really nice. And we're actually talking about what's next, and there's this really awesome music festival happening in Germany at the end of July that I'm kind of involved in on the side a little bit. And we were thinking, oh yeah, it'd be cool to go, go out to Portugal, visit the Mint Bass team there, and the Aros Studios and the Rare Effect family. And shout out to Matt from IMT. He's here as well. They've got an awesome project coming up on the 11th of June. We're about to launch a remix competition for that via DAORecords on Sunday. But yeah, a little sneak peek for you there. But yeah, like we want to travel and do some fun stuff together while we can. And then my plan is to then head back to Malaysia and then continue along my DAORecords path, and contributing to our project with I Want My NFT and the DAO and everything. And just you know having this opportunity to be with my mom has been really special. So that's been the most rewarding thing for me.
Ah. Yeah, and if we do go to Portugal and Berlin, it'll be in the film.
Yeah. Hopefully that happens, Mom, and we can get there. Um, I- how's
Oh,
Easy doing? There you are.
I had muted myself to like clear my throat, and the last few comments I meant definitely didn't get into the show. But yeah, I mean, what what a great opportunity with everything being so crazy. And I know it must have been a little more crazy being over in Malaysia, and kind of figuring, okay, with all the COVID stuff, probably try and head back to the West. And it's just great that the opportunity that you've had to connect and spend more time with your mom, and create this amazing project. And it's pretty heartwarming.
Yeah, it would have been a lot more difficult if Jason was still in Malaysia and we were trying to do this together, but we probably would have had less arguing at some point.
Less arguing, but less bonding.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Well, everything happens for a reason, right? It's funny because right before the lockdown happened in March last year, I had my whole year lined up um, with like the stuff, the jobs I was doing in Malaysia. I was hosting for the Spartan race, and I was working with the ABL, the ASEAN Basketball League, and I was organizing TYGS stuff, and there was like a lot going on, and my whole year was planned out. And then the pandemic hit and everything shut down, and of course events or the first thing to disappear. And then what comes around is crypto voxels and
Yeah.
NFTs and this community and everything that's happening, and then the film idea. And then I'm back in Canada, and here we are, just releasing our access pass today for the first part of the film. And it's just been like a wild ride that feels like it's been lifelong, but it's been like crammed into 1
Forever.
year. It's not even like not even a year for this film. And it's like, wow, it's mind
I
blowing.
I truly do agree that really everything happens for a reason. And even though the last, I guess closer to a year and a half now since like the lockdowns hit, things have been stressful and hard at times and crazy, but there's been a lot of positive that has come out of this. I mean, a lot of us here have built very rich and deep relationships because we had jumped into the metaverse so deeply, like the beginning months of last year. And it's come along so fast that I actually think if COVID hadn't happened, we would not be where we are today as far as, the advancements and the community that we have in this, metaverse new world.
Yeah, that's
totally
really
agree.
true.
Totally
Yeah.
agree with you. Um, do, does anybody have any questions or anything for us that we could answer? You guys have all been sitting there patiently listening to us go on and on about everything. Does anybody have any questions or want to say anything or whatever?
Very professional, great idea of you to remember to ask if anybody has any questions. So this would be a great time. If you have any questions, maybe tag at Easy and Crypto in the chat room. And okay, here's some come in. Okay, from Tigbo. Does Vandal know how cool his mom is?
I guess that's an answer for you, Jason.
Wait, I can answer that question. I can answer that question. Yeah, I do. And you know, it's interesting growing up with my mom, obviously, right? That was something that a lot of my friends have said even since I was quite young. So, but thank and yeah, I got a cool mom. So
there
here's
was a
to cool
point,
moms.
there was actually a point in Jason's life when he was a teenager that he said to me, "Why can't you be like other moms?" And I said, "You normal."
Well, yeah.
Go ahead, Vandal.
No, well, it's a you know, there's more context to that. but yeah, like I mean, whose mom gets a film grant and then goes to East Africa backpacking for 4 months and drags their 13-year-old son to have his birthday on a boat on Lake Kivu, going from Rwanda to Uganda to go see mountain gorillas.
Okay,
Like
so looking back, so at the time you're like, Mom, why can't you just be normal and take me to Chuck E. Cheese or let me go to the movies? But now looking back, you must see that as a really like amazing experience. I would think.
Oh, for sure. And I think it took me a little while to accept it, or at least recognize, how cool she was through everything that we did early on, because I was resistant I was resistant to a lot of it. But in the end, I always went along with it, tried to have.
For a while, he also told people I was his sister.
I did? Okay,
Yes,
I don't really remember that.
Which was very flattering. It would be flattering if you said that now, but it's a little bit too late at that point.
Well, my mom always reminds me that she's only 17 years older than me. So, so yeah, as to not seem too old, or at least, me being older. But yeah, she's a cool mom, and I think the influence has definitely rubbed on to me in terms of, creativity and things. Like she was always trying to get me to do creative stuff, like guitar lessons and piano lessons here and there, and I just wasn't interested, honestly. And it wasn't until the drum machine and the Roland W30 sampler workstation that she brought back to the house. I think it was summer of '91 or end of '91, early '92, and that's when I started my journey as a hip hop producer.
That's
and
when you're like,
MC and
so that's when you're like, my mom is cool. She just brought me home a drum machine and like a sampler.
yeah, well, she rented it because she would just rent random instruments and usually keyboards for a little while from Long and McQuaid in Toronto, and or Steve's Music, and have stuff at the house for a bit so she could play around with it. And that was one of the things where I was like, after it went back to Long McQuaid, I'm like, okay, how do I get one of these?
Nice,
Yeah.
nice. Yeah, I also recognize the coolness of your mom. I think it was probably close to a year ago, and I'm not sure exactly what event, but it was definitely, I think we were all going into crypto voxels, and it was maybe one of the earlier times when you guys were speaking together about a project. And yeah, it was just like, oh man, Vandal's mom is hella cool. I think it might have been around one of the first collabs that you guys released or something. And I'm probably mixing up a few events in my head. But yeah, and then also, from knowing you, from fairly early days Metaverse and DAORecords, and doing those, the pop-ups and us jamming back and forth about someday getting the rap battles going, and like, I knew right away, like, from knowing you, and then the first time kind of I got introduced to Gemini Rising, I was like, yeah, cool mom, cool kid. So you guys did something right.
Yeah, I don't know. It is, I mean, for me, obviously, it is what it is. I'm here. I'm me. I didn't have a choice in the matter, really.
For me too. I didn't have a
Yeah,
choice either.
there we go.
Right, yeah, and you get tossed into this world, and it's just like make do, and it's great when things turn out like this, and you guys can produce such an important, and I think what will be impactful piece of art in this film that encompasses so much. And of course, you must have had some rough days on filming. It doesn't matter if you're related or not. When you're on film set, and especially if there's only two of you doing everything, there's going to be some throwdowns. But pretty awesome that you made it through, to this far. And now, like, probably you can kind of see the end of the tunnel there, because you've got a lot of the work done. Funds are coming in through these sales, and then you'll be able to bring more people on, so you can have more help to finish it up. I think it's just freaking awesome.
Thank you.
And I don't want to keep you guys too long. I've been watching the chat. I haven't seen any other questions come up. So for people listening in, probably kind of last minute to bump out a question. And I wanted to just give you guys, a little bit of time if there's anything we didn't cover that you wanted to just bring up or mention. Any links that are extras that we didn't drop yet to drop into the chat or anything, feel free.
Will part two be on mid base? Is that what the
chocolates.
Well, Carolyn and Nate are both in the film as well. So part 2 and part 3, actually, all of it has already been recorded with all the interviews that we've done. So we pretty much have like the idea of wanting to do everything at the beginning as one film, a feature-length film. And then realizing, hey, we have enough material here that we could divide this up into 3 parts. So yeah, it's pretty much has all been filmed already. So the additional parts would be what my mom is working on with the other artists in the film for the collaboration on async, and then also potentially if we go together to Germany for this festival, and then Mid-Base is also involved in the festival. So I'm sure there are other things along the way, like maybe it could be like COVID and huddling up here in the house and then getting out, and then at the end of it adding those elements in. I think it would be really cool if we can get there. But yeah, the deadline that we have for the part 1 of the film is the end of the summer. So it quite possibly could be that our little trip, if it happens, is included in part 1 as well.
Cool.
Yeah, we don't know where we're going to mint the film yet. Anyway, if Near has their Rainbow Bridge, which is quite promising, where you can go over from Ethereum to Near and back and forth, we might be able to mint it on Near. I have to say, I've been testing out Mint-Base, and I'm on Paras, and I've been using Near, and it's so easy. It's really, really easy. There's a few other platforms that I've tried, and it's just too complicated. I mean, the other one that I kind of like is Hic Enunc, which a lot of the artists are doing, but everything on Near is so cheap. It's just incredible. It's like, oh no, you don't have to worry. It's like the piece that Jason and I did together for the Mothers of Ethereum show, I minted on Known Origin, and I paid like $176 just in gas fees to mint it. And then somebody else in the Mothers of Ethereum was minting theirs like a couple of days later, and they were saying it was going to cost like over $1,000 in gas fees. It's insane. So I'm really happy that Near is coming out soon, and and I think that it has a really great potential because of the bridge between Ethereum and Near, and maybe other token coins as well, like other platforms as well. That it would be pretty amazing if we could make for
One
nothing.
thing also to add into that is I think in general, for all the layer two solutions and the cross chain solutions is the ability to move NFTs across chains. And I think, at a certain point, it won't necessarily matter what chain you're using. Everything's going to connect into Ethereum, and we're going to have the best of all worlds, I think, to be honest. And I think that is
With no
really
gas
something.
fees.
Yeah, and things that empower the users and the members of the community and the people who interact, not sort of DeFi whales who are okay with paying. I saw a super spike in the gas now, and there was one transaction that went for 690 Gwei. And I
Oh,
was like, and I think it was just one because I checked the block as well, and there was like this weird string in between blocks that was flat, and couldn't understand what that was there for anyway. So the idea of us being able to kind of get back to being able to use um, the the platforms and everything, the cross chain advantage, which is coming. I can see it already coming in various forms. But yeah, that's going to be sort of the game changer, in my opinion.
very cool. It's great to hear about ease of use, because we need that on the front end so that we can bring more people in and they're not soured on that first experience. It's too hard, and then they walk away, and if they come back, it's like a year later or something when they're finally like, oh, it's that much better, okay, I'll try again. And I have checked out the Hiket Nunk. It's great because it's a lot more affordable, for the gas fees. You pay like maybe 10 cents or 9 cents or something of a little storage fee, and then maybe 3 cents of gas. So maybe you got equivalent of gas is like 15 or 20 cents to safely get a piece every time, because you can't adjust those parameters. But its front end is not very intuitive. You can't search anything. And I made one piece there. I wanted to kind of check out the platform, and I made a piece, and I picked up a few. I've collected some for free, which is really cool. It's an interesting platform. Tezos is interesting blockchain, but it doesn't have a bridge to Ethereum. So I think that the Near is from everything I've heard so far in my few interactions, is very promising.
Yeah, there's just so much activity going on across like all the chains and all the various projects and just in general the ecosystem of the space has just improved by leaps and bounds, over the past couple of years, and it's really exciting to see now sort of the uh, the type of platforms that are really coming out of it, and the the marketplaces for NFTs, the DeFi, the decentralized exchanges, the various sort of mergers of the various platforms like the DeFi and the music and the NFTs and hash masks and AI generated things, and yeah, it's just been crazy to see it all kind of unfold, and finally now people can use it and people can have fun using it and experiment even more and build stuff.
Totally.
And, yeah.
And there's room for a bunch of different platforms. It's not like we're going to have one. Sometimes people are like, oh, well, it's either ETH or it's that, and I'm like, no, well, in my opinion, they'll
Yeah.
all have different platforms for different styles of NFTs, and that will probably be healthier than trying to cram it all into one or two platforms anyways.
Yeah, I eventually see everybody being their own platform, and then everything kind of plugging into to them, you know.
Right.
That that seems like, yeah, I'm thinking about it. Already overwhelmed with having like an Instagram, a Twitter, a Facebook, a Sent, a Discord, a Telegram, a WhatsApp. Like there's just so many, and now
Dude,
we're getting more now. like this is just like an overload of platforms. And I think honestly, and this is sort of what I've been exploring around DAO Records in terms of what it is, and to think about being like the anti-platform. Like we're not the platform. We each of us are our own platforms, and we integrate with the other things as we need to. But we have control over our little our wallet. Our wallet is us. It's our platform. It integrates with every other thing. Our NFTs, they play around.
Nice.
And
That's kind of how I see it.
and I'm 17 years more overwhelmed than Jason is.
It is a bit crazy out there. I mean, I need like a couple assistants just to follow me around. And like if I shout out the name of some platform or artist or whatever it is, they're like jotting notes, one for writing things like that down, one to remind me of what show I'm on next. It's just it's wild. And I know we've been going for like a pretty solid hour and a half. So I just want to thank you so much for coming on. I mean, I could talk to you guys all night, but I think it's been a really great show. People will really enjoy listening to it and get a lot of, fruitful information, and just get a more of a feel for you guys if they haven't been able to hang out with you in the metaverse. I really highly advise hopping into there's a DAORecords Discord, here in the Lad City Discord, the Token Smart Discord, the Cypher Discord. We have these communities that have really great cross-pollination and overlap on certain different events, and we really kind of keep it like a family and support each other and have a lot of fun, and get involved. If you've got ideas, share them. Reach out. I know that personally I have told a lot of people, like, hit up Vandal. It usually it's because I honestly think that you would have really good advice for what they're trying to do. We kind of have some overlap, but you've got more experience and knowledge in certain aspects, and maybe you probably push people over to me sometimes too. So it's great to be able to have that kind of relationship where it's like, oh, I know you're talking about this kind of project idea. Vandal would have some great advice for you. So that's just kind of how we roll.
It's
awesome.
Funny because
likewise,
I just sold my computer because I bought a new computer, and the guy that came over who bought the computer, through Facebook, I think I sold it, and he lives around the corner, and he's this young guy, and he's a musician, and I'm like, oh, you should talk. Do you know anything about NFTs? You should talk to my son over there. He knows, he could get you into the music scene. And I think I just totally overwhelmed the guy. He just wanted to buy a computer, right?
I love it. I love it so much. Oh yes, the bug has fully bitten.
Oh well, yeah. Wait till we were able to get out, into the world again and roam around, and how what sort of experiments are going to come out of the integration of this particular space, NFTs and metaverse stuff, with real world spaces and events and things. It's going to be next level.
Totally. Yeah, the augmented.
So much fun.
Yeah, there's a whole nother level we haven't really explored much with the augmented reality. Once kind of the world's open back up, I think we'll see that coming on stronger too.
No doubt. But thank you so much, Easy. I appreciate you and Easy Street and everybody in the lads, all the lads and all the fam out there in the chat, Tigbo and also Crypto Stamina, Magmaster and Nifty Q and everybody. Thank you so much. I appreciate you guys. Joel 420, 42 Ortiz and Hash Rhymes. Much love.
Thank
you so much. Love. Yeah.
Thanks everybody for sticking around and listening to us go on. And you can always hit us up. Jason's obviously better at talking to people because he spends most of his time doing that. But it's great. It's really nice. I love this community. I love the artists that we're working with in the film. I love art, and a community in art is pretty amazing, and it's something that's very special about this space. It doesn't really happen that much in real life. In the real life art world, everybody's just trying to outplay each other, and this is so helpful. People are so helpful in this space. It's so welcoming. So thank you for having us. Really appreciate it.
it's wonderful having you, Gemini Rising, as part of the community, and your amazing son, Vandal. And I look forward to more talks with you guys. Would love to have you back on sometime, you know, some months down the line when maybe you've got some new stuff to share and you've kind of made the circuits and things settle down a little bit. You know, the invitation's wide open. So if there's ever a time where you guys are like, oh, hey, we're going to be releasing, you know, part 2, just add me to the circuit.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Awesome. Thank you,
Yeah.
Easy. Appreciate
Thanks,
you.
All right.
everybody. Have a good evening, day, morning, wherever you guys all are. It's a wonderful space to meet everybody around the world. So,
One love. Bye, everyone.
One
Bye-bye.
love. Peace,
Bye.
y'all.
Peace.
Thank
bye.
you so much, everybody, for coming and hanging out on Easy Street or tuning in over on YouTube. If you are on YouTube, you probably want to come join Lad City. Lads.city will get you to the Discord. We had a blast hanging out with the crew and lots of airdrops, and oh man, what a great show. So with that, I'm going to sign off with our vibe, our tribe. Peace out.